A military watch is not just about style, it's built to survive. Soldiers and professionals rely on these watches in extreme conditions like heat, cold, water, and rough use. In 2026, military watches are stronger, more reliable, and better than ever. In this video, we'll show you 10 tough watches you can truly depend on when it matters most. Number 10. Luminox Navy SEAL 3001. There is a version of darkness that most of us will never experience. The absolute black of a covert operation at 0 dark 30, where no light source is available and every second of hesitation carries consequence. The Luminox Navy SEAL 3001 was built for that darkness. The self-powered tritium gas tubes embedded throughout the dial and hands produce a constant battery-free illumination that remains fully readable for 25 years without ever being charged by light. No button to press. No charging required. Just permanent, reliable visibility in conditions where visibility is the difference between mission success and mission failure. The carbon-reinforced case is rated to 200 meters of water resistance, making it the preferred tool of the actual naval special warfare operators who wore it before it became a collector's piece. In 2026, the 3001 remains the purest expression of what a military watch is supposed to do. Work, without question, in complete darkness, under complete pressure every single time. Number 9. Hamilton Khaki Field Mechanical H69439931. Hamilton has been supplying watches to the United States military since the First World War, a relationship built not on contracts alone, but on a proven, documented track record of producing timepieces that soldiers could actually trust in the field. The Khaki Field Mechanical is the direct descendant of that legacy, and it carries every gram of that heritage without a hint of performance or theater. The manual wind movement connects you to the same daily ritual that shaped the watch habits of generations of soldiers. A morning wind that sets your day in motion and keeps perfect company with the discipline that military life demands. The Arabic numeral dial is clear and instantly readable under any light condition. The case is sized and proportioned for hard use rather than wrist presence. In 2026, in a market full of watches trying to look like field watches, the Hamilton Khaki Mechanical simply is one. Honest, capable, and carrying a history of genuine service that no amount of marketing can replicate or replace. Number 8. Casio G-Shock GW9400 Rangeman. When the Japanese Ground Self-Defense Force needs a watch that can survive everything a soldier in the field can survive, they reach for the Casio G-Shock Rangeman. And if that endorsement alone doesn't tell you everything about what this watch is capable of, the specification sheet will finish the argument. The Rangeman integrates a compass, barometer, altimeter, and thermometer into a package that is mud-resistant, dust-resistant, and water-resistant to 200 meters. Multiband atomic timekeeping synchronizes it automatically to radio time signals, meaning it is always precisely accurate without any manual adjustment. Tough solar charging means it draws power from both natural and artificial light, eliminating battery anxiety in extended field deployments. The case construction meets U.S. military standard MIL STD 810, the benchmark against which military equipment is officially measured. In 2026, the Rangeman remains the gold standard for the buyer who needs a watch that does everything and survives anything, mission-critical capability in a package that costs a fraction of what it should. Number 7. Seiko Prospex SBDC-081 Baby Tuna. The Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force doesn't wear delicate watches. They wear watches that can go to work in the ocean and come back ready to do it again tomorrow. And for decades, Seiko's Prospex line has been the answer to that requirement. The SBDC-081, known affectionately as the Baby Tuna, brings the legendary tuna case architecture into a package sized for everyday wear without sacrificing a single millimeter of the toughness that made its larger sibling famous. The inner case structure, shrouded by a protective outer shell, creates a layer of physical defense against impact that conventional dive watches simply don't offer. The 200-meter water resistance is tested and legitimate. The LumiBright Lume application is among the most generous in the Seiko lineup, creating a glow so bright and lasting that it borders on the extraordinary. In 2026, the Baby Tuna continues to attract professional and serious recreational divers who need a watch that treats the ocean with the same seriousness that the ocean treats them. It never disappoints. It never fails. That's the only military standard that actually matters. Number 6. Suunto Core All Black. The Finnish military has a reputation for producing some of the world's most effective soldiers. Disciplined, technically skilled, and operating in conditions of cold and darkness that would break most people before the first day was done. The Suunto Core All Black is the watch that Finnish and Scandinavian military personnel have consistently reached for in those conditions, and the reasons are immediately obvious. Altimeter, barometer, compass, storm alarm, and dual time zone functionality are all integrated into a case that is as visually arresting as it is practically capable. The all-black treatment eliminates reflective surfaces that could compromise a position in low-light field operations. The resin case shrugs off impact with an indifference that speaks to genuine engineering rather than cosmetic toughness. In 2026, the Core All Black occupies a unique position. It is simultaneously one of the most functionally capable military watches on this list and one of the most stylistically distinctive. In a world where most military watches sacrifice one for the other, this one refuses to choose. Number 5. Marathon GSAR Automatic. Marathon Watch Company has been producing timepieces for the Canadian Armed Forces, the United States military, and NATO since 1939. And unlike brands that market to the military aesthetic, Marathon actually supplies the military itself. The GSR Automatic is the watch that serious collectors and active duty personnel reach for when they want Marathon's proven field pedigree in an automatic mechanical format. The tritium tubes provide the same constant battery-free illumination that made Luminox famous, applied here with the precision of a brand that has been doing this for the better part of a century. The 300-meter water resistance, the anti-magnetic construction, the case built to survive the kind of abuse that voids the warranty on almost every other watch on the market. All of it comes together in a package that wears with the quiet authority of something that was built for people who don't have the luxury of switching watches when conditions get difficult. In 2026, the GSR Automatic is the military watch for the buyer who wants provenance that is real, documented, and completely unimpeachable. Number 4. Garmin Instinct 2 Solar Tactical. There is a generation of military professionals for whom a watch without GPS is an incomplete tool, and the Garmin Instinct 2 Solar Tactical was built in direct response to that reality. The Tactical Edition adds Stealth Mode, which disables all wireless transmission to eliminate detectable signals in sensitive operational environments. Night vision compatibility ensures the display can be read under NVG equipment without compromising low-light operations. The solar charging system, combined with Garmin's extraordinary power management, delivers what the brand calls unlimited battery life in high-activity outdoor mode, a claim that field testing has consistently validated rather than embarrassed. The GPS accuracy, the physiological monitoring, the topographic mapping, and navigation tools. All of it is packaged in a case that meets MEL STD810H and is water-resistant to 100 meters. In 2026, the Instinct 2 Solar Tactical is the watch that modern military professionals actually carry on operations, not because it's fashionable, but because it makes them more effective. That is the highest possible military watch endorsement. Number 3. Casio G-Shock Mudmaster GWG 2000. In a lineup of exceptional watches, the Mudmaster GWG 2000 stands apart by being arguably the most comprehensively protected timepiece ever offered to the civilian market. Casio's Carbon Core Guard structure, a carbon fiber reinforced resin inner case surrounded by a protective outer structure, creates a watch that has been tested against conditions that go far beyond any conventional shock resistance standard. Mud resistance, dust resistance, 200-meter water resistance, multi-band atomic timekeeping, tough solar charging, triple sensor compass, barometer, and altimeter. All of it housed in a case that looks unmistakably like it was designed for the front line rather than the front row. In 2026, the Mudmaster has become the benchmark against which every other field watch is measured. The answer that professionals give when someone asks what watch you'd trust your life to if the question wasn't hypothetical. It is relentless in its capability, uncompromising in its construction, and completely indifferent to the conditions you put it through. That indifference in a military watch is the highest possible praise. Number 2. Bremont MBII. Bremont makes watches for the British Armed Forces. Not aspirationally, not as a marketing collaboration, actually, officially, with the MOD specification and testing requirements that military supply contracts demand. The MBII is the watch at the center of that relationship. A mechanical automatic built to Pan 11 military standard, anti-magnetic, shock-resistant, and water-resistant to 100 meters, with a triptych case construction borrowed directly from Bremont's aviation heritage. The movement is regulated to chronometer standards before leaving the factory. The case finishing is done by hand by craftspeople who understand that the person wearing this watch may be relying on it in environments where a lesser timepiece would fail. In 2026, the MBII occupies a position that no other watch on this list can claim. It is simultaneously a genuine British military-issue timepiece and one of the most mechanically sophisticated watches in the under 3,000 category. For the collector who wants military provenance without compromise, the Bremont MBII is the answer that respects the question completely. Number 1. Rolex Military Submariner 5513. Some watches are legends. The Rolex Military Submariner 5513 is history, documented, issued, and carried into service by the British Special Boat Service and Royal Navy in some of the most demanding operational environments that any human being has ever entered. This is not a watch built to evoke military spirit. This is a watch that was actually there, on real wrists, in real water, in real darkness, on real missions that the people who conducted them were never permitted to discuss. The matty black dial with its broad arrow designation, the ghost bezel, the tropicalized lume plots, every detail of the military 5513 exists because someone at the MOD decided it was necessary, and Rolex delivered it to that specification without compromise. In 2026, original examples are museum pieces commanding prices that reflect their historical significance rather than their utility. But on this list, the Military Submariner sits at number 1 not because of what it costs or what it represents, but because it is the watch that defined what every other military watch on this list is trying to be. The original, the standard, the one that started the argument and ended it at the same time.